Hi, my name's Shawn Taylor. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter, and his window is ever so slightly too small. What did I do? Did I break something? I feel like I broke something. I'll
Well, you're,
adjust it while Chris is introducing us to what we are going to be talking about in this episode.
all right. So this episode, oftentimes we compare Aang and Korra. Oftentimes fans are like, Korra is solely responsible for solely just her responsible for her past lives connection being lost. Like sometimes people be like, oh, Aang would have handled this different or whatever. We're going to kind of go over that in this episode of how Aang would do versus harmonic convergence. And I'm going to kind of go through a scenario altering some of the history and timing of certain events to make this situation happen. And then we're just going to kind of spitball where the story kind of might go from there or how it might end. Because right now, I don't know how it's going to end. Me and Shawn will kind of talk about it and kind of go through it. Let us know what you think after you kind of hear this the situation breakdown.
This sounds like one of those where you're going to have lots of really good ideas. I'm going to be like, yeah, or eh. That's going to be my contribution. It's going to be like a light head nod one way or the other.
um, okay, so harmonic convergence is something that happens every 10,000 years, which, of course, if you still hold to this, it couldn't happen during Aang's time because Aang died before it happened. I guess I could go a scenario of where if Aang just lived another 20 years, then he'll be
So
like
just really,
86. But
that's
no,
just a really old man.
yeah.
He
So I'm
looked
not
like
gonna.
Hitler.
So instead of aging Aang up, I'm gonna take harmonic convergence back. Let's just say harmonic convergence happens when Aang is like fairly in his prime. Although that sounds too good for him.
But is it?
Well,
But
I
is
mean,
it during Aang's? So Aang in his prime, but during his time or during Korra's time? Like
during
you
his time. So
during
I'm
his
I'm
time in his prime.
yeah,
So we're just sort of shifting harmonic convergence. Like, oh, it's 10,000
exactly.
years. Okay,
We're just
I'm
we're
with
just
you.
moving it. We're just moving harmonic convergence up about 50 years,
Okay,
or
I can.
maybe 60 years. Whatever time that Aang
In
would
that
be
ballpark.
like 30-ish, maybe somewhere around there.
At the
Uh,
crossroads of peak physical condition and mental
yeah,
mental know-how, like
yeah,
Chris
why
and I
not?
are right now.
Yeah, this is my
This is peak
peak.
physical.
Honestly, I think my peak was probably when a couple of years ago. I was in my tip top shape, basketball shape. I was like down to 175. Um, it was yeah, which I still had man boobs though, but
It's
even in my
just
even in my
anatomy,
peak,
man. You
yeah,
can't get rid of all of it.
it's fine. One way
I
I would be able to get rid of it, like a please, if I just cut fat out. I'm like, psh, that's dumb.
I
All
I
that I
think
want to
mine's
live.
my muffin tops. I think I could be as skinny as possible and still have those. We've all got it, Chris.
That's okay.
Except yourself.
Uh, what was it? Okay, so yeah, so we're moving harmonic convergence up to Aang's peak. It doesn't matter when, really. But anyway, he's like 30-ish something. So, but the thing is, harmonic convergence doesn't really matter unless someone opens the portals, unless there's a reason for it. So we got to have like a somewhat
I
trusting.
gotta have a
I'm sorry.
catalyst.
Yes. So we got to have someone somewhat trusting, like Korra's uncle Unalaq, who she had no reason to not believe him on all these things, and so we got to have that character in this case, someone who's very spiritual, someone who might not have the same philosophy as Aang does, and so I was thinking about this person. Who could it be? Probably can be someone like so close to Aang, because then it'll be like, well, they wouldn't go through harmonic, they wouldn't do pretty much Unalaq's plan, but it has to be someone close enough that Aang would trust. And to me, that person, and also someone spiritual, and to me, that person could possibly be, uh, in this situation I'm making, is Guru Patik. Guru Patik is very spiritual. We know he has. Um, he's close to Aang, right? Aang trusts him. He took care of Appa and everything. To me, he trusts Aang as much as Korra would trust her uncle. Or
I
I'm
think
sorry. To
no, I
me,
think
Aang would
that's fair.
trust Patik as much as Korra would trust her uncle. It's like, hey, here's this person who for all intents and purposes, has done me no wrong. has only led me in the right direction of things. Um,
It seems
Also,
like a
group of
reasonable enough comp to
yeah.
me.
Although now I think about it, group of teak sometimes talks about like how the whole world is connected and everything. But those ideas can be warped to to different things. Let's just say group of teak for the sake of this argument, or for the sake of this conversation, because the only other person I could think of who's as spiritual, who's connected to spirits that they know would be
Had to be like Yatsu came to him in a dream and is like, "Hey, Aang, want to
yeah,
open some
would maybe
spirit
be
portals?"
Iroh, but Iroh wouldn't do that. Um,
Well, I don't even know
all
if
right.
Aang would have that level of trust, and I guess over that point in time, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So to paint the dilemma here, let's say they're in the Southern Water Tribe, sure, because Aang is there pretty often since Katara's from there. Dark spirits are attacking, right? And Aang doesn't know how to face dark spirits. Like it doesn't matter. Like we learned from Avatar Korra that there was no matter how strong you are, you can't keep facing dark spirits. There's eventually a way on your avatar spirit. You'll die of an early age if you kind of keep going down that path. Which he would probably actually learn that from. He'll probably be smart enough to be like, all right, uh, how do I take out these dark spirits? Because I will give him this over Korra. Korra didn't talk to her past lives. It's like, hey, how do I deal with these dark spirits? It wouldn't have helped her anyway. But Aang would have probably taught his past lives because Aang was one of those. Aang often told his past lives anytime he faced a dilemma, even in the comic books. So he'll probably talk to him. He'll probably get to Korra, and Korra could be like, "Listen, I got nothing for you. Like, I tried. I just had to kill him, and it ended up killing me."
I got bad news, kid.
Yeah, these dark spirits, man. How old are you at this time? Wait, you're 33, just like me. Hey, look
Hey.
at
Anyway, don't fight those guys.
yeah. Court, what do I do? You know what? Just let them go.
Just
Uh,
some things you can't fix, kid.
Listen, you guys are just gonna have to move. Just move. It's like having like if there's a ghost in my house, I just move. Like that
That's
was like
fair. Yeah, you go to a
doing.
priest, you be like, "Priest, what do I do?" And he's like, "We actually don't really mess with that. You
Yeah,
just get out."
that's old school priests right there. We don't.
That was
There
more of
hasn't
a
been
that was more of a movies thing.
or they're like, man, the last exorcism was in like 72. No one's ordained to do exorcism anymore.
That
I'm like,
guy's he's on PTO this week.
yeah. uh, got a call. That does nothing covering up my microphone. Sorry.
When he said I had a cough in my head, I was like, I could mute him. And then he covered the mic. I was like, that's probably fine.
Okay, so he'll probably talk his past lives until he gets to Korra, and Korra will be like, "Hey, I faced dark spirits before, and I'm sorry. Sorry. These past lives are useless to you, Aang. We have no advice for you." Which again goes to the whole idea of like, sure, past lives are great to have, but as Yang Chen says, you could talk to all the past lives, talk to all of them, get their advice, and you would still be as lost as you was before. Which is a really interesting thing.
It's not helpful, but it's helpful in its honesty.
Yes, yeah.
Like, let me save you the time.
So then, he'll probably go to the most spiritual person he knows, which is probably Iroh, right? And Iroh will probably try to help him, but even Iroh is like, I don't know anything about dark spirits, and Aang will probably get a little frustrated. Not nearly as frustrated as Korra was to Tenzin and his lack of help, because I hate that aspect of that season. But I come to appreciate what it offers for the story and their growth, but within that context, within that moment, it was poorly written. So then he'll be like, all right, well, what is the second most spiritual person I know? And he'll go seek out Guru Patik. which is the villain of this story that I'm painting. Um, so then at that point,
It's kind of weird to wrap my brain around.
yeah. So at that point, right? So you have Mr. Shawn, you can chime in here anyway. If I had to guess, the people who are going along with this will probably in this team Avatar outing would probably be Aang, Zuko because he already went to the Fire Nation, so Zuko might as well tag along with them. Katara and Sokka. Toph would probably sometimes I feel like Toph is out of the story because whatever reasons, and she's also not like all into spiritual mumbo jumbo stuff.
I
So she's
feel
like,
like
I'm
the
not gonna help.
comics would probably inform this better, so I'm just gonna trust your judgment. But I can agree with the idea that yeah, Toph be like, I'm gonna teach my school and be police chief and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I get on board with that.
Um, yeah. So then at at this point, they go see Guru Patik, and Guru Patik like, hey, we gotta go to. It doesn't matter which tribe, which where they go to the southern or northern. No, they would have to go to the. Let's see, they probably go to the southern. Who's in the northern? March,
Wouldn't they want to be pretty discreet about it one way or the other? Like,
Yeah, yeah. He would. Um,
I don't know that it would matter a ton, would it? I'm sure we
yeah,
could think of a reason, but
yeah. So Guru Patik would pretty much kind of, I think, go along with the same in this scenario again. Uh, in this hypothetical scenario where Guru Patik is somewhat more villainous. He would kind of go very closely along with the plan that Unalaq had. Get the Avatar to open the first spirit portal, and Aang would probably have no issue with that
he
at
probably
all.
wouldn't just fling a bunch of water into it. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, exactly. Um, let's see. So then at that point, so the part of the story where Korra figures out that her uncle was was against her, was planning this whole thing. There has to be some type of catalyst for Aang to figure out that Group Critique is actually up to something. Um, which, let's see, how would he figure that out? I guess he'll have to learn it. I guess maybe just he'll spend more and more time, maybe I don't know, going through past lives. He'll eventually get to one who knows about harmonic convergence. That's unless we want to go with some type of idea where maybe Iroh goes to the. Oh, actually, that would
What
be
if it was
interesting.
Guru
Or
Patik himself spinning informed on harmonic convergence, but maybe didn't, I don't know, without laying out all of his plans or.
yeah, I mean, he'll definitely drop some villainous stuff. Where you're kind of questioning like, what's this guy talking about? Um, and maybe so. I was talking about Iroh before. Maybe it would be cool if, which just lays the foundation for Iroh, um, reaching Nirvana and becoming a spirit himself. That he goes to the spirit library where he meets, because he's like, man, I'm upset I wasn't able to help Aang, right? Kind of same as Tenzin, not able to help out Korra. So he's like, well, wasn't able to help Aang. So he meditates to the spirit world, he goes to the spirit library, and he researches on the harmonic convergence, and that's where he meets the little fox spirit that's with him in Legend of Korra. I think that's a good way to.
It's kind of cute, yeah.
Yeah, get that together. So then Iroh learned about the the whole history of Rava and Vatu, and then by that point, I guess he would probably somehow tell Aang about it, maybe through some spiritual means, or he'll have to get there in person. Either way, at some point, Aang is going to come on to Guru Patik what his real plan is, and in my head, Guru Patik would send a real giant dark spirit to Aang, and then that would. Wait, does Aang really need to go through? You think in this point, Aang needs to do what Korra did and have some type of amnesia that he has to go back and learn the history of Wan and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if that it affects the functions of the story, but just for the sake of the vacuum, to fill in those gaps or to give him sort of the fairest footing later on in your story that you're developing here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's where he could learn about harmonic convergence. He gets hit in the head by something and goes.
Well, I had to. I felt like we had to introduce Iroh in there to learn a little bit harmonic convergence to warn Aang, because then there will be no reason that Aang would feel somewhat skeptical of Guru Pratik's real intentions. Because if Iroh tells him, and then Aang will be like, "Wait, what are you doing? Like, why would we open up more spirit portals? Like I hear from Iroh that that's the opposite of thing to do." And then that would force Patik to attack Aang to a point where wait, why did to a point where he's, I don't know, trying to control him.
It's so hard to picture Patik as the bad guy.
But that's what makes it so
So
interesting, I guess. But
juicy.
yeah, it's yeah. But essentially, I feel like he'll be kind of in the same boat, right? Aang then like fully realizes like, oh no, I have to stop harmonic convergence. But
Oh
then,
wait, this guy drinks banana onion juice. He's a serial
yeah,
killer and needs to be stopped.
yeah. But then, Patik will probably. Oh wait, who will lead Aang through the spirit world? I guess it would be. It couldn't be Katara. It'll probably, I mean, probably Iroh. Because the reason why Korra ended up opening up the second portal because Janora. Wait a minute. Because Janora was going to kill. Oh, you know what? Maybe it'd be better if it was. Yeah, because I guess you can't really kill someone's spirit without water bending. No, you can. Never mind. If you go in physically through the spirit world, you can still kill someone's spirit. Never mind. So that's fine. Wait, well, Putty can't bend. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe he can bend.
Yeah, maybe. Um, in this,
We've already stretched a few
yeah,
things. Why
we
not?
stretch a lot of things. Or the person could be or the villain is could be the guy with no pants, shoe.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
why
because
not?
he can water bend. Yeah, why not? Let's change up because you need him able to be able to water bend and do the whole spirit bending kind of deal, which I forgot about when I thought of this thing. But that's why I think of these things on the fly. But he would probably, which that seems even less likely because he seems so like absent-minded.
He doesn't seem like he could pull this heist off
Yeah.
realistically. You could just say that Patik is secretly a bender. Just
Okay.
holding it back this whole time.
Let's just go with that. Because the point is just to paint someone
To try to
that
get the vacuum up to the point of harmonic convergence to being relatively the same
yeah.
experience for both.
Right, like yeah. So then you get to the point where he's threatening somebody that Aang's this close to Aang, probably Katara, because that's always Aang's way. Like it doesn't matter what Aang does, even if it goes into Avatar state. Like it doesn't matter how powerful he is, he wouldn't be able, I think, to stop someone from killing someone else's spirit. um, and he would have made the same not mistake, but the same choice that Korra made in opening up the second portal and letting out Fatu. And yeah, so then he see from that point he let's see, he would where did Korra go from that point? Let's see. So then man, I'm drawing a blank for some reason.
Because it's late.
Yeah, it is. He would then, oh my gosh, my brain is really fried. Help me, Shawn. He was in.
I got nothing.
Yeah, yeah. No. Um. Oh yeah. So then there's a whole thing about. Um. So then they would meet up, right? Harmonic Convergence happens. He would try to defeat Vatu himself, which he would get close again, just like Korra got really close. Aang is powerful enough. Of course, Aang is powerful enough to lock up Vatu. I think Korra is powerful enough to lock him up by himself. He'll be powerful enough to lock him up by himself. But then, of course, time, you know, just nick of time, Vatu, harmonic convergence happens, and Vatu's hold his little four elemental barrier is broken, and then he fuses with the group of Deke here, which is kind of a really cool visual of like a dark. To me, that's a cooler visual of a dark Avatar Patik than a dark Avatar Unalaq for some reason.
Well, and he's got a Fu Manchu, right? So that already just works.
Yeah,
Is that what you call that, a Fu Manchu?
I don't know.
I think so.
You talking about just
His
uh,
beard, mustache,
oh, okay. I have
Patiks.
no idea what you call that.
Yeah, it seems like it would work in a dark Avatar.
Yeah, well, yeah, just think it look kind of cool with the red eyes and
Yeah, why
everything.
not?
Yeah. So then they would get in a fight, same way the Korra and Unavatu got in a fight. And again, he would be more connected to Vatu than Aang would be to Rava. And also, to me, no matter what avatar you are, um, the Dark Avatar would be stronger than you because Vatu is way bigger than Rava at that point in time. So you're bigger, you have more chi. That's where the energy flows from. That's why the Avatar has such a huge power scale because of that spirit in them. And so, to me, no matter how powerful Aang is, like Korra, he wouldn't be able to defeat this dark Avatar. Like it's just destiny.
Palavatu? Can we call him Palavatu?
I was trying to think of the Patik, but Patavatu, yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean,
Vatik?
yeah, do you do you concur that he would kind of also lose that first
The
match?
initial fight, yeah. At least I have no points that I would counter with that. And it makes sense just based on the pure size of Rava at that point.
Yeah. And then Aang would feel, I don't know, very defeated. Like, not only was he the last Airbender, but he was also the last Avatar. Like, Aang would feel, even like, Aang oftentimes just deals with loss after loss, just like Korra in a sense, but I feel like Korra's is at least shown to affect her a little bit more. Like, Aang lost his whole people, but when, he wasn't, I mean, he was saddened by it, but it wasn't like a heavy burden he kept taking with him everywhere, at least stately shown.
But this is an important point because if you were going to suppose some divergence of the two, like to this point we've got kind of the same story,
Hmm.
uh, I presume that's where you're going with it is going to happen now, right? Like if there's going to be a different path.
Uh, I mean, I guess he would go. In my head, he would go to the Tree of Time. Also, someone would tell him about that. Probably Iroh. But would Aang be able to bend the energy with him than himself? I mean, well, probably. But we see when Aang went to the same kind of Avatar void, right, where you see your huge Avatar kind of self. He wasn't able to.
Like the point when you're kind of looking at yourself in the third person.
Yeah, but like it's a much bigger version of yourself. That kind of space when you're connecting to the spirit, when you're connecting to the cosmic energy in the universe. Like that image of Aang and Korra where there's like stars behind them.
Yeah.
Like, would he be able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, my gut instinct is just being sort of more. I don't know. He feels like he would be in touch with himself enough to do that. But then, if there's
Yeah.
any, like, I guess if you were gonna make an argument for the other side, I'd be like, well, he was never really up to this point, he wasn't really ever able to control the Avatar state, or elected maybe not to use it more often until the finale. And I would presume that he doesn't go into the Avatar state a whole lot after the finale of the show, or is maybe never super comfortable or super. I
No, I
would
mean
say that Korra is more in control of her Avatar state. So if you could make any argument that sort of control over your powerful inner spirit was important here, then maybe he would not.
yeah. The only he controls it pretty fine. Actually, I mean, Korra probably does have more of a
I feel like
control
she's
in
got
it
a
because
better
she has
grasp on it.
more
So,
control of her emotions. Because sometimes Aang is just kind of gets a little angry,
and that's
and
that's
kind of
young
loses
Aang. I
stuff a
would
little
like to
bit.
presume that he gets better
Yeah, yeah,
character.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
think
That's true. We were talking about peak Aang at this point. He has to have full control
you
over
can
the
spin it
Avatar.
either way, and like I said, it would be easy for me to look and say, well, Aang's probably sort of really in touch with his spiritual self, so maybe it would not be hard for him to kind of reach deep down in and connect with that. The other part's like, would he even want to, or would he
Yeah,
fear? Would he have more fear inside about what would come from that, or if it was the right thing to do? Sort of more precautions that might limit him from diving in head first.
yeah. I mean, do you think the story kind of diverges any?
I don't think so. I don't think I see
Okay.
anything yet to say that Aang would have had different outcomes. Like his whys and his how might have been different, but I think the ends so far would have been the same.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he would, somehow manage to bend the energy with himself. Also, he's already pretty used to the concept of energy bending. It's a different form of energy bending, but it's energy bending nonetheless. They fall within the same, I don't know, branch of bending.
And I didn't when we first started. I didn't know necessarily where you're going with this, but I like that you came to the key point of, or I see why you brought it to that key point of, is Aang essentially still going to lose that first fight against Vatik, against Paravatu? And I don't see. I see that as like the prime point of where things would diverge, and I don't see that there's any reason that Aang would have succeeded in that fight where Korra failed. So
Yeah.
I didn't see where you're working up to that at first necessarily, but I get what you're trying to pitch now.
Um, yeah. So then I think he would, yeah, he would join. He would turn into a giant Aang spirit, and huh.
I
Uh,
I feel like he would be able to. I would say that he would be able to do that, and that he would be able to retrieve Rava.
yeah,
Personally, I wouldn't short him that. That's just me.
yeah. No, I wouldn't either. I don't. Yeah, I think he would. I think things will end mostly the same, which would be really interesting, right? Not that we have to go too far into it. That he would be more solely responsible for bringing back the Airbenders because of harmonic convergence, and that would be a really great achievement
That'd be
for
kind
him.
of a touching what's the word, side effect, a touching side effect.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of if Aang, would just getting to see Aang in the spirit world for a longer period of time would be really interesting
Oh,
to me. And
yeah.
so, or even just when he's meditating in the tree of, I keep wanting to call it the world tree. That's dragon word. The tree of life, right?
Tree of Time.
Tree of time. Thank you. Good lord. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how his experience would vary. Just being, the idea of him meditating and trying to dig deep within himself versus Korra meditating would probably be a vastly
True.
different experience. But
Yeah.
again,
Oh yeah.
not enough to
Yeah.
change any outcomes. I don't think.
Yeah. And I think that's yeah. I mean, that's essentially what I was trying to get to is that Aang would make the same mistakes and the same uh right
But the mistakes
choices.
was from either, no matter who's. It's kind of coming from a good place in both cases.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
It's tough to set up Aang's scenario so that it matches, but it's coming from a good place. And Aang is Aang that we know and that we get in the show. I mean, we hope he grows up, but he's a gullible kid. He's not.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, he has trouble
Yeah.
vetting
So
these things all the
great.
time.
Great point. Aang is very gullible and he sees the best in people.
So
Right.
Kid Aang is
Poor.
absolutely falling for it. Now, I don't know about 30-year-old Aang, but I think it's very safe to say
Yeah.
probably would.
I think so because I don't think Aang loses his Aang. Season one, Aang talked to Zuko, who's been trying to chase him down and everything, and was like, "Hey, you think we can be friends?"
Hey, buddy.
Like this guy has been nothing but horrible to you, and you know the only reason why he wants to capture you, the only reason why he saved you from Zhao is because he wants to capture you himself, and you're like, "Can we be friends?"
No, I
And then
just
he
want to
fire
kill
bends
you.
at you.
For me personally,
Yeah.
want to kill you, not for that guy.
Aang is very trusting of a human being, which is good. That's good. He
It's
doesn't lose his faith in people.
it's hard to set up a scenario where Aang has that kind of confidant that sets it all in motion. Like, because it really is hard to picture like Gyatso
Yeah,
or like Shu. Shu's not really doing it. So it's hard to like set up that same
yeah.
scenario.
I guess I
But
could have went. I guess I could have honestly just went with a 90-year-old Aang, because I mean avatars can live a long time.
well, and if Kyoshi, well, and Aang's vegan, right? So he's probably healthier than you or I'll ever be. Um, and so it's maybe 90-year-old Aang is still pretty healthy, or I don't know, but it'd still be hard to set up the scenario where the confidant was a family member or
Yeah.
somebody.
Well,
You,
the confidant would be probably still Varric, not Varric, still
that would be so much better.
Unlock.
We've got to open these spirit portals, stat.
It'll still be Unalaq because he's still connected to the Water Tribe, right? Katara would be
Okay, now we're
uh,
talking some Katara
Katara,
political
yeah,
connections.
type of deals, yeah.
But it's still not your uncle, so it's still a little harder to set up, especially against 90-year-old wizened grizzled veteran.
But to me, he's still right. So I think I think Aang would trust a stranger. Well, he's not even a stranger. He's like the chief of a tribe has only been good to your wife's tribe, right? Because the southern tribe, I'm sorry, the northern water tribe was helping out the southern water tribe after a while, and so all you've been seeing is good stuff from him. And also, Aang is, once he's gullible, but he has faith in humanity, and this person has able to teach Aang abilities to combat dark
Even the spirit,
spirits.
yeah. Well, yeah, to introduce him to this new concept
Yeah.
of spirit bending,
So honestly, I didn't have
presumably
to
would
jump.
still be the guy.
Yeah. So honestly, I didn't have to jump through hoops to put Aang in his prime. Aang could have been. He could have just. We could have left Harmonic Convergence where it was at. Could have left Unalaq where it was at. And although he might
Maybe,
have died. He might have
maybe
died by the end of this just because of the stress
I'm gonna say that
of
90-year-old Aang is harder to trick, but easier to overpower because he's 90. So it's give and take.
yeah. Yeah. And so he which that would kind of be a cool last battle,
That would
right?
be kind of sick. I can't get over this idea of Varric opening the portals for like shipping purposes. Like instead of going around the world, we'll go through the world.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, honestly. I'm amazed he
Uh,
hasn't done it yet.
yeah. I really should have probably thought this more. I thought of this earlier today when I was watching the
I mean,
episode.
it's tough to recreate. Korra's situation is so unique. But if you get it to that point somehow, if you
Yeah.
talk
I think
yourself into
even
that vacuum
yeah.
as we've tried to do here,
Right. So Aang would actually be he died at 66. Korra is probably no, she's 18 at this point.
so he's
So
84.
Aang would have been 84, which
Okay.
that's still for an Avatar 84.
So
I mean
if
Roku
you're a
was like
good, healthy
90 or something.
vegan avatar,
Yeah.
not fought too many dark spirits up to that
And
point and stayed away
yeah,
from gangsters.
and say he wanted to teach Tenzin how to get in the spirit world finally because Tenzin is his last hope. He has to teach Tenzin, but Tenzin can't do it. And he eventually teaches him, and then Unalaq threatens Tenzin's life. Or
Now we're
threatens
talking. They
Jinora.
can't. He's trying to teach Tenzin to get the spirit world. They can't. It's like, wait a minute. We gotta find like the foremost expert on spirits, and they go to this guy that they trust for political reasons and familial reasons already. And then he's like, hey, yeah, let's teach some spirit world stuff, and then that leads to the type of relationship where he says, you want to open a spirit portal, and Aang's like,
Hey,
why not?
It's like asking Aang, do you want to do drugs? Like, hey, you want to open the
You wanna
spirit
open a
portal?
spirit
And
portal,
Aang is
kid?
like, hey, sure. let's get spirity.
But is anybody else gonna watch, or can we just do it separately? Secretly. Yeah, I think if he can get it to that vacuum, I do like this story better, just because I don't have to
I do.
picture Gyatso as a
No,
bad
I
guy.
do. No, I do. Yeah.
Because if Gyatso is a bad, or not Gyatso, Patik.
Fatigue.
If
Yeah.
Patik is a bad guy, it really is more of a serial killer thing, just based on his food preferences. He's a closet serial killer.
um, and it will end, I think, with Aang losing the connection to past lives, and it could be I don't know, story wise, really good, like last hurrah hurrah. Because I think by the end of it, even uh, after he defeats Unavatu, after he reconnects with Rava and the Light Spirit, learns more about her, he still dies afterwards, but he's lived long enough that the Avatar cycle will continue.
I thought you were gonna say lived long enough to see himself become the villain. You open the spirit portals, you bastard. Batman. No, I think that's fair. It's reasonable. That would have been an interesting story. Season 4. We just told season 4. That's
exactly. We get to see Aang's life end.
All the
Gataro's there. Sokka died at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, he's dead. I'm sorry. It's over.
But then we wouldn't have Korra as the Avatar. But not in this scenario, because she would still be there. She'd be some spry, young, waterbending
little
girl. She would be there. She would be in the. This now I'm liking this.
She'd be in a tribe. Yeah, that'd be cute.
Yeah.
Well,
right. But she'll be her same age.
And so it'd be parallel universe for you to be excited, because if it wasn't a parallel universe, then you wouldn't know that she was supposed to be the Avatar. But in a parallel universe kind of way, that would be incredibly exciting.
She's just a strong waterbender who
got some sick dude.
Oh, you know what? It should be Korra. It should be sorry. So it should be. So Korra will be still learning under Katara, right? Well, it could be a lot of people. Never. I like this, Tenzin. But it could be Korra trying to learn to go to the spirit world, because she's so opposite from Aang, and Aang is trying to teach her. And then they go to her uncle. Oh,
I like him. Okay. I like the idea of him exploring it with Tenzin. That feels so real to me. Like,
I like all these ideas.
One thing, I have a little shit. You can't get to the spirit world. What are you talking about?
But with the Korra thing, you get to see Aang teaching Korra.
I mean, yeah, okay.
It makes it a couple different ways, whichever way you want to slice it. I'm glad we got to a point where I think the story makes more sense than the first story. I episode 1 was listening to it, was like, this story is going off the rails. Let me listen to something else. And then by the end of it, I was like, okay, well maybe this is more interesting.
This is why why book 2 is everyone's least favorite, because we just sat down and tried to rewrite it, and it was even worse somehow. No.
I think season 2 would be easy to not rewrite, because to me it sounds pretty presumptuous. Even though I do this myself, that you think you could, not you, Shawn, but that person thinks they could write a better show than the person's doing it. I'm guilty of this all the time. Like, I think I could. Not that I think I could have written something better than somebody, but I think if I was in the room where it happened, Hamilton reference, that I'll be able to just like, hey, maybe we should just think about this little thing here, and you guys hammer out all the details, right? Like Batman v Superman, I think I can add a couple different points, and someone can write better stuff in there to go along with my points. But I myself, no, I cannot write a better story.
I'm okay with what you've just proposed, but there is that important acknowledgement that you made that other people don't. It's like, it's not just that you can't improve with some ideas or whatever, but you couldn't, you didn't produce this idea originally. The hard part of developing this whole universe and thing to lead to this point. But yeah, it's a little different just being able to be in the room and have that back and forth. I can accept that, yeah. We should have been there. Chris, what were we doing at the time? I was working at Payless.
Let's see. In 2012, 13, yeah, it's a Payless.
Yeah, it's a Payless. Well, in that case, any final thoughts? Do we need to go write this fan fiction? Send it to Jamie, see what she thinks?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Foremost expert on fan fiction.
I think the fans would not hate Aang as much for losing connection to the past lives as they would hate Korra. But That's I don't know, that's the way of the world, I guess.
Yeah, that's just some people are gonna like Avatar more or Korra more and stick to that side, and that's fine. Whatever. Personally, I just rewatched The Dragon Prince again, and I think that's my new favorite. I gotta be honest. No, it's that's too far, but
I was like, wait, more favorite than which?
no, but I do like it more every time I
Oh,
watch it.
that's good. That's good. That's it.
Oddly familiar.
Things. Thing is, I feel
Boomerang.
like if you watch something more than more times than two or three times, then you start realizing how much you like it and how much like it took me on my fifth rewatch of Avatar to be like I just had this epiphany. It's like this is the greatest show of all time. Which then I thought, wait, if this is the greatest show of all time, that means this is the greatest cartoon of all time. And if this is the greatest cartoon of all time, it means it's better than Batman the Animated Series.
And then you went and you like turned on a cold shower and you just sat in the tub and let it come on you.
Just go to my Batman shrine and say, "Forgive me for having sinned, Batman."
But this, no, this is probably my fourth rewatch of Dragon Prince, but it hasn't been full each time. It's like I rewatched season 1 when season 2 came out, and then I watched season 2 and 3 came out, and then I've probably watched all 3 of them at least 2 times, if not a third time. So
Yeah,
um,
I've been so like I don't know voided of Dragon Prince because I'm just waiting for the next season.
yeah,
It'll probably be another.
I've heard
Uh,
like very little news, so I don't.
I mean, the big news is that they got greenlit for the whole saga.
Yeah, so that's
Which let's
great.
see if Netflix holds on to that though. 'Cause Netflix just canceled a show after the first season, which was like one of their bigger shows, Jupiter Legacy. But anyway, not important here. Netflix
Uh,
is known to cancel shows. Let's just say that.
yeah, well,
But they
it
did,
happens. So
yeah. But they did announce that hey, we're giving them the whole saga. So
yeah, great show, Dragon Prince overall.
it is.
Chris, thanks for coming up with the spin-off topic so that we didn't have to dive into season 3 today
I
and then
know.
have to take like 2 weeks off in between because that would have just I don't know. I kind of want to. I wish I'm just gonna show up at your house and we're just gonna knock out as many season 3 episodes as we can. Just a whole day of podcasts. We'll
Hmm.
I don't know what to do with the children. Just put them on Heather, I guess. Just let Heather watch the kids all day. It'll be great. But thanks for the spin-off episode idea. Fun to try to defend Korra's honor a little bit in this case.
Yeah.
No idea what we'll do next time. We haven't really discussed yet if we'll get back to regular episodes or if we'll do some more spin-off type things in between seasons. But thanks for watching this one. We appreciate it. That's Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter. I'm Shawn Shaler. Come find us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And I don't know where else I was going with that. That's all I got to say. Thanks for watching.